Hello everyone, I am so happy to be here with you today. I have the greatest project to show you and I'm really excited about it. My name is Cindy and I am Cindy from Cindy's Creative Cards. Today we are going to be doing a marker plus water, which equals watercolor background. And I have thought long and hard about what the title should be or what the name should be for this technique. And I finally decided it has to be the Marker Smooshing Technique. So if you hear or see anything about the Marker Smooshing Technique, then you will know what it's all about. So I'm going to pull my camera down and up so you can see what we're going to do today. But before I do that, I need to flip you so you can see. Okay, so here we go. Today, the first card we're going to be making is this card. This card is made with the Marker Smooshing Technique for the background. We have the Oceanfront stamp set, which is on page 88 of the annual catalog. I believe that goes there. We'll be using the Lighthouse Point stamp set, which is on page 100. Now this does have a die set that goes with it, and it's not come in yet, so I forgot to order it when I ordered this one, which was crazy because I lost my 10% on the bundle. But I have since ordered it and I'm waiting for it to come in. So today we'll be doing some fussy cutting. And the birds on this particular card is the stamp bird, the bird stamp on the Horizon Cling stamp set. It is in the Retiring mini catalog on page 43. It has dies as well called Horizon dies that are also on page 43. So these are the stamp sets that we're going to be using to make this card. So here we go. We're going to be using, I've got everything in this nice little plastic pouch here. So I'm just going to slide it out. We have the Tahitian Tide cardstock that has been cut at 5.5 by 4, no, just 5.5 by 8.5 or 11.5. 8.5, 5.5, 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. And it's going to be our card base. You fold it where it has been scored. Okay, so I'm just going to set this aside because we've got to make the card face first before we can use it. So I have got here a piece of the basic white cardstock, which has been cut at 5 1/4 by 4. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get our stamp block, which if you look on the side of the stamp blocks, this one is E, stamp block E, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to take our Stampin' Right markers. You don't want to use the alcohol blends. They won't work the same way. These are water-based markers. This is what we want. We want this water-based marker. We want the Sahara Sand. We want the Tahitian blue, petal pink, and balmy blue. So what we're going to be doing first is we're going to take the Sahara sand. We're going to find the brush tip. And we are going to color on this about a third of the way up. This will be our sand. Okay, it's hard to see on this block, I know. The next thing we're going to do is use the Tahitian tide. We're going to use the brush end, and we are going to color about an inch upward. That's going to be our water. Then we're going to use the petal pink, the brush end as well. And we're going to just do this right here, just a sort of a streak right there on top. And that will be like the sky. Okay, the light in the sky, the sun. And then we have balmy blue, and we're going to color the rest of it in. And it's all right if this bleeds into this petal pink. Okay, so now we've got our stamp block all ready. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Stampin' Up's spritzer. It is called a stamping spritzer, and I have filled it with water. And I'm going to see if I can get this sprays. And I'm going to see if I can get this to spray in the right direction. And you spray it just 2 or 3 times till it sort of looks bubbly, just like that. And I'm going to place my basic white cardstock and turn this over, and I'm going to try to center it on here so I'll have a border all the way around. And I put it down and I press. Okay? You can sort of slide it if you choose. Okay? So I'm going to lift it up. And I've got some excess water here. So I will use a paper towel, and I'm just going to blot it to get that excess off. Okay? Now, this has to completely dry before you do anything to it. If you don't, then your ink that you stamp on top of this is going to be a blurry mess as well. So I'm going to set this to the side, and I'm going to bring in one that I've already done that has dried. Now you can see they're similar, but they're not exactly alike. It's not going to happen that way because of the way that the water runs. So this is the one that's dried, and this is what we're going to be using today. So I'm going to slide that to the side. Now, what I wanted to do, this is my sand, and I want to create a sand dune. So I'm going to be using Ocean Front, and I'm going to take this stamp, which is right here, and I'm going to make a hill of sand. Now, I will use one of my thinner blocks. I'm using block H. And I'm just going to place it right on there. And I'm going to use Sahara sand for this. Sahara sand. And I'm using basic white cardstock. So I'm going to set that to the side. So I'm going to ink up my stamp. And I'm just going to stamp down. 1. And I'm going to go, my gracious, now look at that. I'm going to go ahead and do it several times. So in case I need more than one, I have it. So I'm going to set that to the side. Now, I've got my sand dunes. The next thing, I'm going to keep this out. No, I need crumb cake for what I'm going to do next. It's just a little bit darker and has a bit of green in it. So I'm going to set this to the side and open the crumb cake. Look, a kitty hair. Alrighty. So, and for this one, I'm going to be doing this tall grass right here. It's hard to see, so I'll show you here, this tall grass. So, I'm going to get a smaller block. I'm going to use this block, and this block is a D. And I'm going to ink up, and I'm going to stamp. Now, I found with this particular ink pad, it's really juicy. I don't like that word to use to describe ink pads, but there really is no other way to say it. There's a lot of ink in there, and if you press down too hard, you get those little bubbles, like right there. Alrighty, so the next thing, I'm going to slide that to the side. The next thing that I want to stamp is this one. This looks like I can't even remember what you call that, but it has the little fronds on top. So I'm going to get an even smaller stamp block for that, and I'm still going to use this crumb cake. It complements the sand very well. Okay. Press down. And I'm just going to do this twice. Okay. Now, I think we've got everything that we're going to need stamped as far as the sand and those features concerned. Now, what we're going to do now is move to Lighthouse Point stamp set. And we're going to stamp this lighthouse, and then we're going to put the stripes on it. So, I'm going to take my lighthouse, which is here, and it's this stamp. And I'm going to take my sand dune off of here and put it with the ocean front. And now I am going to use Smoky Slate for this. It's not quite as dark as some of the grays. So I'm going to let you watch me right here. I have inked this up, and I'm just going to put it right there. Now, this doesn't completely get all the way inked up because it looks weathered. And that looks fine. I'm going to leave that just as it is. I'm going to shut this, and then I'm going to get my Memento Black, Tuxedo Black ink. And I'm going to stamp the stripes right here. So I'm going to take this lighthouse off, and I'm going to stamp the stripes. Get this out of the way, which is what I should have done earlier. Now, we'll ink this up, and then I am going to put it over. It's hard doing this in this position. And I'm going to stamp that down. And there we have a lighthouse. All right, I'm going to put this over here. Now, I think that's all we need out of the lighthouse point. So I'm going to put my black away. And I'm going to put these, the stamp set, this stamp right here, and I'll clean them later. I put them on the inside of my case like this, and I know that I need to clean them before I put them back over here under the cellophane. All right, so we're going to end up having to fussy coat this. These do not have a die. This one, however, does, and I just don't have it. So what you would do is, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out like this, so I can handle it a little bit better. You leave, when you fussy cut, you leave a little bit of white, just like what would be if you used dies. That's what you would have if you used the dies. And it's a lot easier to cut it out because you don't have to be so precise. Even if you flub up a little bit, nobody's going to know. So, you see what I'm doing here, and it's easier to turn the paper than it is to lift your scissors up. Now, there are times you have to do that, especially with these very small and delicate areas. But, like I said, it's very forgiving. And you still get a great looking product. Okay. All right, that's going out just a little bit. Back in. Now, this didn't take so long. I was thinking that I might have to just put this aside once I showed you what I meant by fussy cutting and use one I had already cut out. There's a little bit much here. I don't like that. But here we go. We have our lighthouse, okay? So we're ready to start putting everything on once we cut out these. Now these are a different story. This one right here, although it's not hard to do, all of this just takes time. So if I were to cut out here like this is a lesson in fussy cutting. And what some people would just continue to go on up here, cutting in and go on up. I think it looks better myself to go down here just a bit and then cut this out like that. So you'd have that instead. Now I'm not going to cut all of this out and cut these little tiny ones out. I've already done that. Here is that, the seaweed, not seaweed, but sea fronds. And we have these. And I cut out two because when you put them together, it just looks a little bit better. So what I'm going to do first is slide this to the side. And we're going to put down our sand dune. And I've cut that out. Now, if I put this here, and what I'm going to do is turn this upside down and cover that up a bit. And I'm going to go into the white border to make it look a little more even there. Not quite so much. Okay, and then we can even put another one here. Okay, so what we're going to do is use our glue. I'm going to glue this one down first. Now I think that's not working. Let's see if I can get this one to work. Sometimes this glue just has a mind of its own. So let's see. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Okay, so it's coming out fast tonight. Wow. Okay, so I'm gonna put that there. I'm gonna slide this in right there. Okay. Then I'm going to put some glue on this one. And I want to make it like there are dips in this, sand dunes. And then one here. All right, so my next thing is I want to take these, put some glue on it. Come on, glue. I guess you have to talk to it. It's just not wanting to come out. And it's a brand new bottle. Okay, so there's a little on the front. I'm going to try, before this gets completely, and put this one right there where it's behind that sand dune. And then I'm going to take the other one and I'm going to put it on top like that. Okay, there we go. Now this right here looks like either the sun is rising or there's been a storm and the sun is peeping back through the clouds. All right, now this didn't glue down very well, so I'm going to push that down and get me some of this. Now I'm going to put these fronds right here. I want to get my lighthouse on first though. Okay. So I'm going to stick my lighthouse down in here. I do want my lighthouse to be, I thought I was going to stick it down in there. Lift that up just a little. There we go. And get my lighthouse down right there. Okay. Then I'm going to put these right here on the right hand side. Wow, did that ever come out? I think this must be stopped up in some way. Okay, so I'm going to put those right there. Okay, and I have a little tiny one that I'm going to stick in right back here around the base of the see if I can take this, not this side. Turn it over. And I'm gonna see if I can lift this up just a bit to slide this in. There we go. And that really would look better underneath here. There we go. All right, so now we have our lighthouse in place. The only thing is I think we need to color that to show that it is light. So I'm going to get my alcohol ink with the brush end. This is light, so saffron. And I'm just going to lightly color these squares or rectangles to show that there's light inside that lighthouse. Now, we've done it. We've gotten it all fixed except for the birds. Now, that comes from on the horizon, right down here. Now, this is a rubber clean stamp, and here it is right here. And I am going to put that on this one. So I'll lift that up, put it over here. We'll wipe this off and put this on. Okay, so now the birds will go like that. So I'm going to get the black Memento ink again. Okay, and I'm going to put these birds right there. And there you go. We have our beach scene. I just love it. I hope that you love it as much as I do. I think it is really pretty. And it reminds me of my childhood because I grew up about 30 minutes from the beach, and the beach was where I went every chance I had. So I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to take this glue that's not working worth a toot, and I'm going to run the bead right in here, and it comes out. And I'm going to glue it down. And I'm going to hold it for just a second. This dries very quickly, but I'm going to hold it for just a second. So make sure that it does get glued down everywhere. Okay, and so we have our card. And it looks similar. I used a darker color right there for that one, but I didn't like it, so that's why I changed it on this one. But the sky is a little different, but for the most part, it looks the same. And this right here, where I messed up and hit the stamp pad, you can't even tell it. So there we go. We have two beautiful cards. Now, this was the lighthouse card. What I want to do now is show you another one that can be done with this ocean theme. And we're going to be using Paradise Palms, which is in the annual catalog, and it is on page 23, and there are dies that go with this, and they are on page 172. It is not a bundle. Let's get rid of this trash. Then, And here are the dies, palm dies. We're going to be using this one, Less Set Sail. And it is in the annual catalog on page 80. Now, the reason we have this one, we aren't going to be doing a boat, but we are going to use these seagulls right here. Okay? So, let me show you. I'll show you the card we're going to make. And here we have it. And I think this is so much fun because of the coconuts. However, on the one that we're going to do today, I'm not going to put this saying. I'm going to save that for the inside. I'm going to put sand dunes instead. So you could choose to do it many ways. So that's what I am going to do today. So let me show you. We have our Tahitian Tide card base, and it's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, and folded. So I'm going to put it to the side. Okay. Then we are going to use this white piece of paper, basic white cardstock, and we are going to, it is 4 by 5 1/4. And we're going to do the same thing to it that we did to the other one. Okay, so I'm going to get my stamp block. And we're going to do some coloring. So I'm going to start out with the Sahara sand for the sand. And I'm going to color it. And I didn't do it even through here because sand dunes aren't even. So I've got pretty good coverage here. Next, I'm going to use the Tahitian Tide. And I'm going to use the blue brush end. And this is for my water, the ocean water. Then I'm going to use the petal pink, and that's going to be for the light, the sun peeping through in the sky. And then I've got the balmy blue again, and it's going to cover the rest of this up. So, what we now have to do is spritz it with our spritzer. Let me get this right. Hold it up. And I'm going to take my basic white cardstock, place it right here. I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to try to get it on here evenly. And there we go. Now, the sand down here, you can see it has not smooshed, but that's okay because that looks like pebbles or the grains of the sand. So I'm going to lift this up, and I am going to get my paper towel, and I am going to blot it and get this excess ink off of here. Okay, and that one looks even different from the others. All right. So, now we're going to let this dry. And here's the one that I did earlier. So we'll use this one. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to get these palm trees ready. We'll stamp these palm trees. Let's see. And I'm going to use this same white cardstock because I have room to do it on that. And here is, in the stamp set, here is one leaning, and here is the tree trunk that is straight. So we're going to use both of those. Then we're going to use this smaller one, the palm fronds, and here's the larger one. Okay? So, what I'm going to do is get this block, which is the H, and I am going to stamp first this upright one that does not lean, and I'm going to do this with cinnamon cider, this one. So I'm going to put this to the side. So I'm going to use the cinnamon cider, and I'm going to get these tree trunks. So there's one, and it did not completely. See if we can get that. There, that'll work. Alrighty, so I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to use a water wipe to sort of clean this, since I don't have my stamp chamois ready here and damp. It dried out. So put that to the side. I'm going to take this one off, if I can get it off. There we go. And then I'm going to put this one on. Okay, it curves. I believe I can get it right in there. I really like to use every bit of paper that I can. Okay. And there again, I don't like that. We'll do it this way. Okay, that one worked. All right, so I'll wipe this and get it to the side. Okay, so now we are going to work with these two right here. And for the smaller one, I'm going to use Pear Pizzazz. And for the larger one, I'm going to use Granny Apple Green. Just that little variation in color will make a difference. All right, so let's do the larger one first. And I'm going to use, no, I don't think that's going to work on that one. We'll use this one. We'll do the large one first. And we're doing Granny Apple Green. We'll do it right here. Okay, very good. Then I am going to do the smaller one with Pear Pizzazz. Now this block is a C. I like the way they have these sizes or the letters on here for sizing, because in the catalog, underneath each stamp set, it will tell you which blocks you need, and it will indicate it with the letter. Okay, and here we'll do that one. Okay, so we've got the small one and we've got the large one, which is exactly what we needed. I'm going to put those aside and I'll clean those later. Now, I am going to bring in my cut and emboss machine to show you easy it is to use this, because there was some question before on how to use it. Okay, it comes like this. You can see I've got something on it. It's a beautiful machine. And you put it down, and I'm going to move this because it sort of, the feet on it are rubber, and it'll keep it from sliding. So, I'll open it up like this. And it comes with the bottom plate that tells you exactly what you need. You need plate 1, which is this one, and it's the thick one. Okay? Then it says you need plate 2, which is this thin one. Okay? You need plates 3. There are 2 of these. And they are these plexiglass plates. There are 2 of them. Now, what I have started doing is using a magic mat. It keeps it from bowing, because they will bow over time. So I'm going to put this down, put my magic mat right here just for the moment. Here is what we want to cut. We're going to cut this one, and we're going to cut that one. So let me show you the dies. I got a mess. Okay, here are the palm dies. Okay. And we are going to be using, it's so hard to get this out of here. And I put my dies on little magnet boards so I don't lose any of the pieces. So we're going to use this one, which is the one that is straight up, and this is the leaning one. And right here, you can see, here's the leaning one. It will go there. And this one will go here. Now, what I'm going to do, because I'm afraid this is going to be moving around, is I'm going to use my white surgical tape. It's so easy to tear, but when you put it down, it does not, mess up the image, the ink. So I'm going to place this right where I think it's supposed to go, and I'm going to tape over it. I'm going to tear another piece and place this right where I think it needs to go. I'm doing this sort of catty-on-cause here, so it's hard to make sure, but I think that's about right. So I'm going to place this right here. Now we can also do these and do it all at one time. Here's the big one right here, and here's the smaller one. So let's see, I'm going to place this smaller one right there. And get a piece of tape. Tape it down. Get my tape ready for the next one. Right here. And it goes right there. And tape it down. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll just put my magic mat right on top of it, and I'm just going to run it right through. Now, it's best if you can to put your dies on a slight angle. That way, it goes through the machine faster and easier. Okay, they're sticking a little bit, but there they are. Okay, so here we have the small one. Put it right here. Here we have the larger one. It's right here. There's the leaning one. And here is, well, it didn't cut out all the way. Now, isn't that something? It was right there at the top. Okay, so I'm going to use my paper snips. These little Stampin' Up! Paper snips, they are so sharp, and they handle everything with ease. I have others that I have had for years that I swore by, but they are nothing like these. These are gems. Okay, so now that's the way we do our die cutting. So we'll take these pieces. If I can get hold of it. I have no fingernails, which makes it hard. And I'm missing, oh, here it is. It's still taped. All right, so I'll put this to the side. And this goes to the side. And we'll bring this back in. Okay, so now, here we go. I have this one, and this one, and then we have these two. Okay, so this is the main part, but I do want some sand here, I think, instead of the greenery. Now, I went ahead and earlier, when I was trying to figure it out, if I wanted the greenery, or if I wanted a sand dune. And I decided I like the sand dune better. So let's go ahead and let's get these. Let's see if this will work. Okay, come on. There we go. Just a little bit. Now, they have this little circle up at the top here, so you can attach the palm fronds to it, because these are palm fronds. Okay. Alrighty, now we can turn this over. Well, I made that lean. I didn't mean to. Well, let's change this. I don't want it leaning like that. Well, it's already stuck down. Alright, so we'll have those palm fronds like that. Now, I think I'm going to go ahead and put this dune down. Like that. And then put this one in front, like that. We'll bring it down some. So let's put a little glue here. maybe like this. And we'll let it lean over some. Now, we have that peeping through, but that's okay. I'll show you what we're going to do in just a second. I've really got to check that glue bottle. All right, there we go. Now, the leaning palms. All right, let's see if I have what I have planned to do here. Yeah, right here. Okay, so this extra one I had here, I was thinking maybe, or I had a small one. I wonder what happened to it. Don't see it anywhere, but we'll keep going here. And I also thought about, what if we put some of the seaweed over here, or some, whatever you call this stuff. It'll sort of balance out our scene here. Okay, let's get this down. Alrighty, now, the thing that I did not cut out, but I have made them in advance, I cut them in advance here, is the coconut, or the coconuts. Here we go. Now, I got glue on the end of my finger, so it's sticking. I'm going to stick this one in, well, if I can get hold of it, in the big tree. Okay, so we're going to stick it in right here. Okay, and I cut one in half because I didn't want as many in the smaller tree. And I'm going to place that right here, like that. Okay, now we have a choice here. Here are these that can lay down here at the bottom of the sand, right there. Or I can add this here and that there, or put this here. So I think I like it better here. Oh my gracious, look at that. One would think that a new bottle of glue would not be having these issues. Okay, so I'm going to put it right here, like so. And then I'm going to glue that right down there. As you can see from some of these things that I have cut out, you see stamped images on the opposite side. I use front and back, and if it doesn't show through, I'm going to use it. Okay, so now what we're can do is we're ready to stamp our seagulls right here. So that is going to come from the Less Sell stamp set. And here are seagulls. And they are, and you can see from the way it looks that I use it all the time. These seagulls right here. I like my seagulls. Okay, so I'm going to place it on this small block, which is an A. And then they'll go like that. So I'm going to get out my black Memento ink again. And I'm going to find just the spot, I think right there. And there are our seagulls. Okay. And now we are ready for this. So let's get some glue here. It comes out so fast right here. And then there's not as much of it everywhere else. And we're going to put this down so it's evenly spaced around. That's the beauty of glue. You got some wiggle room like I just did it. Whereas with the tape, you don't. There are times that I like tape and there are times that I like glue. And today's been a glue day. Okay. Now, if you chose to put a sentiment right here or even over this, you could. But I think it's pretty just like it is too. So here's the one with the greenery. And I have more coconuts down there. But I decided to just go with this one here. Then we have our lighthouse. So you have two beautiful beach scenes made with the oceanfront stamp sets, the Paradise Palms, the Let Set Sail, On the Horizon, and Lighthouse Point, plus the marker, plus the spritzer, which makes what I call the Marker Smooshing Technique in the background. This is like haze here, which the ocean often looks that way. So anyway, there we go. I'm going to turn the camera up, and I'm going to reorient it. And I want to say thank you for joining me today and watching as I demonstrated how to make these beach scenes on these cards. They are going to be such special cards for people who miss the ocean, who wish they were at the ocean, like me being homesick for the ocean. They'll make wonderful note cards, or if you put a greeting on the inside, then you have a greeting card. So thank you for being with me. And I would like to remind you and to tell you that all the directions for these cards will be on my blog, which is cindystampshappy.blogspot.com. And also, the newest thing is that I will now be posting these videos to YouTube. In the future, I will be filming from YouTube and directing you from Facebook there. So, but for a while, I will still be doing it as we're doing it now. Please, if you enjoyed this and you found it helpful, to like and follow me. I'd like to grow my channel. If you want any of the supplies that I used today, you can find them at cindyphillips.stampinup.net. That's my store. So If you would like an annual catalog, a mini catalog, I would be glad to send you one. We have a new mini catalog coming out in July, and you'll definitely want to get that along with the new annual catalog that came out in May. So lots of wonderful new products that you would like to see, I'm sure. And I would like for you to peruse the catalog and the website and to find something that makes you happy. So until next week, dream and create, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.